What is up, everybody? It's Lynn, and I wanted to do something fun today. I had so much fun doing my Music Through the Majors video that I decided to do another one, but classical edition. And I had even more fun with this because that was just like my general picks, right? Just to put like my very first thoughts down. This kind of took me a while. Classical, you know, being a vibrational dancer and whatnot, classical is like my favorite genre of music. So I really did want to make a classical edition. I never knew when I would get around to it, but I had some time, so I decided to jot down my initial thoughts with this. And because of some very great free music websites out there, I was able to, I'm gonna plug in some of the songs on the list for you to hear. Clips of them, right? But anyway, let's get started. Okay, got my Rider-Waite here, okay, my majors, and we're just gonna go ahead and get into this. The Fool. Vivaldi, Spring, right? Now Vivaldi has 4 seasons that are available, but Spring, that reminds me of the Fool, right? Learning out, coming into one's own, right? That's the Fool. Spring. Now, some of these are going to be kind of modern. And by modern, I mean that they're not like the composers that some people may recognize, like Vivaldi. Some of them are, but then some of them will be like newer composers that I really love, like The Magician, okay? Peter Gundry is a composer on YouTube. I think that's where he started out. He makes all of his songs and they're kind of witchy and they just sound so great. And he has a couple of albums out already, but he has this song called Last of Her Kind. I know what you're thinking. Sounds a little bit like a High Priestess, but the way the music is, it's like she's coming into her power. And because she's the last of her own, it's even more important that she does come into her power. And so the song really reminded me of The Magician. Peter Gundry, Last of Her Kind. Now, the High Priestess, okay? There's a band out there who's semi-modern, I guess. Yeah, I guess they're considered semi-modern. Nox Arcana. And they have so many great songs out that it's not even funny. But one of their songs, which is like one of my favorite songs by them, is called Labyrinth of Dreams. And every time I hear it, I think that's what would be playing if I walked up to her on this fool's journey and she had all like this billowing veil behind her and she just seemed so ethereal, right? This is the song that would be playing. Nox Arcana, Labyrinth of Dreams. Now, if you know classical music, okay, everyone knows what they would probably pick for this. I feel very certain that this is what you would pick for the Empress part, and it's Ave Maria by Schubert. And there's so many great renditions of that, it's not funny, but Schubert's version is so, you feel the presence of the Empress, you feel the mother presence of the Virgin Mary, and that's what that means to me. Ave Maria. This is funny, okay? Because when it was time for me to pick the Emperor card, one came up. And I thought, could that really mean the Emperor? And I kept going back to it and it just never changed. I never could find something that reminded me of the Emperor like this, and it's the Requiem Mozart. Okay? Every time I hear that song now, I'm gonna think of the Emperor card. Samuel Barber does a version of this that I absolutely love for the Hierophant card. Agnus Dei! Yes! If any classical music composition would be the Hierophant, it would be Agnus Dei. I was like, yeah. The lovers. Now, there is a piece that's all about love. For me, this card is about more than just like love, okay? And there's a piece that's so serene. And when you read the book that is associated with it, like the power of it is so intense. And it's Scheherazade, which is a story from the Arabian Nights. But Rimsky-Korsakov does a rendition of Scheherazade, which I think is like, the piece I'm talking about is like 7 or 8 minutes. Oh, it's got some violin solos. Oh my God, that'll just rip your heart out. And you can kind of research what they do in the music, okay? But it's just one set of instruments is Scheherazade, which is the woman, and then the other one is the Sultan, right? And if you know the story, he kills all of his brides come morning, the Sultan. And Scheherazade gets picked, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to tell him a story. I'm going to tell him a story every night, and I'm going to leave it at a cliffhanger so that he'll keep coming back and won't kill me. And it works. And that song is so powerful for that. Chariot. We all know the Chariot is about just going forward, right? And it's just about picking the path. But when I hear Mussorgsky, Night on Bald Mountain, I think about getting in this chariot. And I was like, this is perfect for this card. Strength. This was tough because there were so many I could choose for strength. But Caprice 24, Paganini, is great. When you listen to it, it's like embodying this card when you listen to that song. Next, because we're going pretty fast with this, Hermit. This was also a tough one because I didn't know if I could do something about solitude. There was probably something out there, but Beethoven has a composition called Silence. And when I think of silence, I think of the High Priestess, but with this particular composition, it reminded me of being alone. And the silence of being alone, but not in a fearful way. Like, I need this this silence, and it's like a powerful silence, not something to be feared or something to be like I'm alone and I feel desolate. Not that type of silence. The composition feels empowering, and that's the Hermit. This was instant. Much like my other video, I picked Wheel in the Sky by Journey, and it was just like, this came up instantly. This was like the very first one I wrote down. And y'all probably all know what it is. Karloff, O Fortuna. Yeah, that's the Wheel of Fortune. Says it right in the name. Fortune. Justice. This was pretty easy for me as well, because I love a lot of Brahms' work, but Tragic Overture, much like the powerfulness of O Fortuna, it spoke to me in a like stand by your morals, stand by your values type of I had that kind of a reaction with this composition, and so it made the cut for Justice card for sure. Now, the cello and the violin have really special places for me because that's what I tend to love in a composition. But this card, about the gaining perspective and everything, I did feel like I need to just change it up because I have to get a new perspective. So I've changed it instead of going with something that was violin cello-esque, I chose to go the piano route. And the canon piano version by Pockbell, that's this. that's gaining a new perspective, and it just feels like you're going upside down, and that's just, it's perfect for this card. Now we've come to my absolute favorite, and it's a two-parter, but the Death card, for me, is such a powerful card in a deck of cards, okay? But my absolute favorite composition of all time, because it's based on poetry, it's based on a poem, I felt it, I can feel it, I can see it, I can visualize the poem when I listen to this composition, and it's perfect for this card because it's about death. It's literally about death. It's called Danse Macabre, and Saint Saëns did this composition, and it's my absolute favorite version is by him. And that's my, like I said, there was a two-parter of my absolute favorite compositions of all time, and we're gonna get to my number 2, which is like 1-2 is like in spot 1. Got 2 for spot 1. Danse Macabre is my first. Temperance to me was not very tough because immediately Greensleeves came to mind. And I felt so, it feels, you know, the water. I can feel the water doing this when I listen to that composition. Everyone knows Greensleeves. And I just felt that it went with the Temperance card when it came up, and as powerful as that is. And here we come to number 2. It's really crazy how my absolute favorite compositions of all time made the list, first of all, because I'm pretty much a stickler when it comes to them and trying to put them into boxes because they're more powerful than that to me. But I'm glad they made the list, and it's kind of weird how they went with the 2 like big bad tarot cards, if you think that, but they're not. The Devil card, my second first, came up, and it just kept coming up and coming up, and like I said, I didn't want to put it into a box that it would be the Devil card, but it had to, and it's the Devil's Trill. Now, if you know the story with the Devil's Trill, and that's by Tartini, this is an insane violin composition. Insane, okay? And it's said, I love the compositions that goes with that, like has a story with it. The Devil's Trill is all about him, and he wants the best violin composition to come out. He wants to write the best. And he has a dream that the devil comes to him, and the devil's playing, the violin. And then he wakes up, right? But when you listen to this, okay, and it's pretty long, but when you listen to this, you can tell exactly when he falls asleep, exactly when the devil comes. The devil's the violin, the scratchy violin. And you can tell when they meet in the dream, and then when he wakes up, and how it just kind of goes up like this until finally what the devil's doing in the violin is so powerful to him, to Tartini, that he has to sell his soul. At the very peak, he's selling his soul to get that, and then he wakes up. You feel everything. And that's the power of music, isn't it? But it made the cut for the Devil card. Now this, as far as modern composers go, Adam Hirst is one of my all-time favorites because he's a cello man. And all of his songs are just so beautifully worked and beautifully put together. And for the Tower, he has a composition that's called Desolation. And you feel every note change, every scratch of the cello. And by the end of it, you felt like the whole song took you through a tower moment. Literally a tower moment, and then it's like at the very end of the composition, you're like, oh, that was intense. That's what the Tower feels like to me. So that's why I picked Desolation by Adam Hirst. This was pretty easy, okay? Star card, this was pretty easy because when I think about the star card card and I think about hope, right? Pandora's box, whatever. When I was doing the other version, this song actually came up. But I think something stopped me because I knew I wanted to do a whole classical version one day. Swan Lake. Now I know you wouldn't think that, but Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky is so the star card. It's not even funny. Not even funny. And it made the cut. I didn't even really have to think about that one. It came up even in the other video. But I knew I wanted to make this version, so I'll put it for this. The moon card. If you know classical music, what would you put here? It's easy. Now, this could go one of two ways, okay? I actually did pick Mozart's Moonlight Sonata because that's just it's such a beautiful piece of music. But you could do Clair de Lune by Debussy, and they're just both beautiful moonlit compositions, okay? So you could pick both, and I'll leave both of them down below in the list if you want to check either one of those out. We're coming down to the last few here. This is a happy card for me, but it's so much more than that. And there's a piece of music that I listen to when I want to embody this type of a thing, and it's Morning from Peer Gynt. That's how I pronounce that. I think that's how you say that. And it's by Krieg. And that piece of music makes me, it's kind of, it doesn't really make me feel that way. I'm envisioning people at like a picnic and they're all this version of happy when I hear this piece of music. So it made the cut for the Sun card. Okay, last two. Judgment was not hard at all, because when I think of judgment and I think you're getting called to do something, or when you get the call, it's almost like, for me, it's almost like you have, when you're on your deathbed too, you're laying out your regrets of the times you didn't take the call. And that's a powerful feeling. And that immediately made me think of a piece of music that is literally about that. Lacrimosa. And when you hear it, and picture this, you're gonna be like, wow. Next time opportunity knocks, I am gonna freaking answer. And we've come to the world card. We're at the end, people. I did it. This was pretty hard because I wanted something that would like encompass everything. I wanted to put just like a general favorite here, but I really did want to embody the world card. So, there's a piece of music called New World Symphony. And if the tarot card played a piece of music, it would be that. The world card played this a piece of music to the collective, it would be New World Symphony. And that's by Dvorak. And it just, all of these worked so well with each card. I could not believe how well it worked and how fun it was. So that was it. I'll leave all of them down below, and I hope that this was fun. I love doing the other one, and I wanted to give a little bit more into a get to know me too, because classical music is my favorite type of music. That's what I listen to the most, and so I did want to put my classical favorites down with the tarot. I hope you check out some of these compositions and let me know if you like any of these or if you agree with me. So, much love.